Hi, this is Mike Edelhart, and I'm here with another edition of Inception, our podcast about beginnings, the beginnings of companies, new ideas in science, sometimes even a little glimpse of the future. And today, here with Nicolas Heymann of Heritage Type. And why don't you start by sharing a little bit of background about you and what you're doing and why, and then we can sort of take it from there.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Happy to do so. So I am, my mother's German and my father's originally from Bolivia. And yeah, the background, like I started Heritage Type with my co-founder Tobias in 2019. We started slowly, like we started properly in 2020, but we started to build an MVP in 2019. And Heritage Type is kind of a next generation marketplace for graphic design. So you can imagine you have, for example, Pinterest, but now as a user or as a designer, you can jump in every graphic and interact with it. So you can change every graphic. You have a full scale graphic program in the browser so that everyone can work with everything.
Got it. And so, why is that the best use of your time and talent? So, of all the things that you could do, of all the companies that you could start and operate, now, why is this the most interesting and valuable problem to solve?
I mean, there are lots of problems that need to be solved, but um, for us, it was the following. So I really wanted to do something scalable. My co-founder really wanted to do something scalable. I was working in the e-commerce space, and my co-founder was working as a graphic designer, and he was working from project to project. So he was always busy with working on individual freelance projects. But the thing is, you can only, as a person, you can only work at one project at a time. And then we just thought, like, what is if we build a solution that maybe covers like just 80% of the needs of a project, but therefore we can cover unlimited projects at a time. And that was how our MVP came up. And we just saw very good traction initially. And yeah, that was how we got started.
Got it. So, it might be helpful to folks to just sort of describe the market because that was one of the things that attracted us to you. So, there are great big tools at the top of the market, right? That professionals use that produce heavy duty graphics. And then there are some platforms at the very bottom of the market that are sort of the color by numbers equivalent of doing graphics. And what you're doing is essentially drawing down from the folks at the top that sort of expertise and ability in a form that folks in the middle can use. Is that a uh, fair way to characterize it?
Yeah, very good point. Exactly. So what we do by placing this marketplace with a tool in the market, we don't provide a tool only. Like it's not solely expert professional graphic tool. It is a marketplace where you have professional designers on top and amateurs on the bottom. So basically, with the marketplace, with the tool, we empower amateurs to act as professional designers, or to at least learn the skills step by step. And that works mainly because the professionals they create all the input, all the platform on the platform, so they create templates that you as an amateur, for example, can use. You can just use it and do little small changes, but you can also learn to recreate everything from scratch. So it's really what you're saying, like connecting those two groups.
Right. So, a sense if I loved the art from the old Grateful Dead album covers, maybe I could get something from the designer who did that, that then I could repurposed, and it's not American Beauty Rose, it's Mike Rose. But it still has the same look and feel, and I didn't have to do it from scratch, and I also didn't have to paint by numbers. It's really professional stuff.
Exactly.
So you said you attracted some initial interest. How much interest? It's really rather a big and vibrant community, even from early on, which was another thing about you we were impressed with.
Yeah, true. Like from the beginning, we decided to sell our MVP and to ask for money because we just wanted to see also conversion rates and what we need to do to make people buying some MVP. And I think like we got a few 100,000 in revenue in the first 3 months, and that was good enough initial traction for us to build on this more.
Got it. So where do you hope this goes? I mean, do you see yourself always as sort of being in the middle, helping above and below? Do you think that being in the middle is a better place to start than being at the top or the bottom, or what?
I think being in the middle is a good position because like we empower the bottom, and the bottom is very big, and where it goes, like I think our plan is we build a future design tool. So by having the professionals teaching the bottom base, we as a tool, we learn it ourselves. So we'll have lots of big databases that know certain things where you can teach machine learning algorithms on, where you can learn how to predict the next steps that a designer would do, because we can track and learn from everything because it's done in the browser, in our tool. And that gives us the ability to provide a better experience to an amateur who is learning how to design. And that's a thing that we are working on.
So it's a bit of learning, it's a bit of commerce, it's a bit of community. It's really a number of different ideas all kind of put together in a unique way.
Yeah, true. Community is also a big part of it.
And so how do you express community? So what does that mean for you and the designers that are in there, or from the aspirational designers who want to learn? How does it all work?
So community is actually not in the beginning too important for the business side. It has 2 points at the same time. So the community, on the one side, it is our biggest fans, and actually they would buy every product from us. But on the other side, we have a community of let's say 100,000 users, and the total traffic is 1 million or something. So the community only makes 10% of the audience. But the community is super high engaged. So we have this community that we interact with, and we kind of build the product on them. So whenever we are testing something, or we are just thinking about developing anything or going somewhere more in detail, we would ask them, we would send out test products. We do all kind of testing, from email testing to developing things and then asking users to test it via Zoom call, so that we can really see how users are interacting with the product. And that really helps us to build a product that the community and that the whole audience wants and needs. And then in turn, again, when you have this high engaging community that is every time happy again about new products and new releases, they then help you to spread the word. Or I mean, that's at least how it is for us. So they bring us reach, they bring us larger audience, and that then again in turn converts into more users.
And so in your mind, what's the ultimate goal here? So a few years from now, what does Heritage Type look like?
A few years from now, like we'll have a couple of millions of users. I mean, I don't want to drop too many numbers now, but I think we have to gather a lot of users. But a few years from now, we should have a solid 2-digit million user base.
Got it. So I'm just curious. We're doing this as kind of a video podcast because of Zoom, and there's a glorious, very Weimar-looking piece of art behind you. What's the story with the art on the wall?
Oh, thanks. I was already thinking if I should blow everything off, but since I saw you also have your full camera on, so I just let it on. It's actually a piece of art from my co-founder. So he is an artist, or he was always doing art before. And I think this one is over 10 years old now, the one that you're seeing. And it made its way into my private living room.
It's really kind of stunning. Does all of the work have that sort of Weimarish, Berlin, subterranean kind of feel about it?
Yeah, it's right. But actually, it's a duo. I can show you the second one.
Ah, how cool.
So, yeah.
They're really very striking. So in one of the other interviews you did, the person asked you if you had a dinner party, who'd you invite? And you had a really interesting and eclectic group of folks that you answered. Karl Lagerfeld, the designer, and folks from big successful tech companies, but also Kobe Bryant. And I was wondering, how did Kobe Bryant get in there? Why, if you'd had the chance, would you have loved to have had dinner with him?
Because I think he was like a very passionate person. I mean, he was super passionate about his sport. And to be honest, in this interview, the question, like, who would I get on the table, was for me the worst question. I didn't have like a group in mind, but so I just dropped the names of people who came to my mind, who I think were very inspirational to me. And I find it always inspirational to meet people with a great passion for something. Like, that doesn't need to be too much into business, but it can be also in sports, arts, whatever, just a passion they share, because you can learn so much from another person's passion, how they interact with that, what do they do to achieve their goals in their area. And that's just something that I feel is fascinating.
So what's your biggest worry? What's your biggest fear as you put this all together, the various pieces of community and getting assets from professionals and keeping professionals happy and all of this? What's your biggest worry? What do you think you have to overcome most for the company to be all that it could be?
I don't have too many business-related fears here. So I'm actually pretty confident that we'll get it done. And it's just about how much time it takes. And there we have sometimes limitations, because what we're actually doing is doing all those things in the browser, like requires top-of-the-notch development skills. And sometimes we have interviews and people are saying this is the most complicated thing I've ever seen. And then there we see sometimes a bit of a struggle, but on the other hand, it's an interesting challenge for everyone. So especially from the development side. So
I'm curious, just listening to you talk with confidence that way. Is it the excitement that motivates you most to do this? Is it the intellectual sort of interest in puzzle solving? Is it the outcome? I'm here to make a whole lot of money and this is what I have to do to get there. Or I just love solving problems. Or there's a cliff, why not jump off? What is sort of the thing that brings you to entrepreneurship this way?
It's definitely the passion to solve this problem. And what actually gives me, and I think my co-founder, what gives us most of the energy when we have some things that don't work, is really the feedback from the community, because you always have people saying, hey, here you've done a good job. This is really good. And okay, this we don't like too much. But they always give you a way where you can see, okay, that's the way we need to go, where we need to go. Or okay, that's the way what we actually need to do. And so I think feeling lost, like feeling not knowing what you need to do, that is really the worst feeling, because then you get lost and you get like in a spiral and you think, okay, what do I need to do next? And you have discussions, you try to find your way again. But once you were able to build up a community, it's basically kind of a big sparring partner. So, and that is really motivation for us. Yeah.
Fascinating. And it's one of the things we saw when we first met you. You seem to really have kind of grokked this community and vice versa. And we felt like there was the potential there for you to find, build, and then bring forward an army. And that obviously would be exciting and potentially quite valuable.
I mean, in the beginning, when it were only like a few people, a few hundreds, we thought, okay, maybe this is just a couple of people that like this stuff. But once it's thousands or like more than 10,000, then I think you can be sure, like, if there's a group of so many people that are telling you this is right or this is what we need, then like you just need to reach more. And you like once you have 100,000 or a few millions, you are somewhere on the right track. So these people who are telling you they need this feature or whatever, they are not alone. If this user persona needs it, then there's also like 100,000 of other users in this group that will need it. You just need to reach out to them. And yeah, that's the thing about the community.
Sounds good. Well, it seems like we're off to a really great start. We're really proud to be investors, and we look forward to seeing what happens next. So let's check in, in a year or so and see how it's all grown.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, now it's still pretty early, but we can definitely check in again and see how it looks when we properly launched, I would say. That's going to be interesting.
Sounds good. Thanks for taking the time. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Mike.